I thought by doing more, I will achieve more. So I worked really long hours. I bought one strategy after the other, applied one strategy after the other, even so I didn't like it. But when they tell you this is the millionaire strategy, this is what you need in your business. So you believe it, you buy it, and it didn't work. The results just didn't show. And I'm like, wait a second, what am I really doing here? If it's not working, it's not the strategy. There's something wrong with me.
Hello, Profit First entrepreneurs and thought leaders. I am so excited. We have a very special guest today. We are bringing on Miriam Villegas, and Miriam is a success and mindset coach, and she was actually mentored and trained by Bob Proctor. You guys know him. He's one of the greatest teachers in the world in terms of human potential and growth. And today what Miriam does is she helps entrepreneurs multiply their income by really applying powerful mindset techniques so that they can live fulfilled, enriched lives by really thinking into the results and getting the confidence they need to believe in themselves, break through their fears, and align their vision with action. Please join me in welcoming Miriam to our platform. Hey, Miriam, how are you doing today?
Hello, Susanne. Thank you so much for having me. It's really a pleasure to be here today.
Well, I'm excited because we got a really powerful conversation, and we're going to talk about thoughts today and how your thoughts attract outcomes, right? And how you can actually train your mind to attract the outcomes that you want. So, Miriam, first of all, I always love the background. How did you find this calling, this topic, and tell us your story.
Mm-hmm. So my story began in 2016 when I stumbled across the book The Secret, and a lot of us have seen either the movie The Secret or have read the book. So I hit the book first, and then I was fascinated by what they were saying in that book, that really you can create your life. And I was so skeptical, Susanne. I was like, nah, that's not really true. And I was curious at the same time, right? So I was like, okay, well, let me just try it out, whatever they say in the book. Let's make it a game. And if it works, well, then there must be something true to it. And if it does not work, well, it just proves it's not true, right? So I tried it out and I started manifesting things. And it was crazy. I started with my husband. I really met my husband after 90 days because I was single back then. I wanted to have a family. Within 3 months, I was married. And I was happy. I was living in a different country. I'm originally from Germany. I wanted always to live in a warm country. And now I live in Texas because my husband is from there. So it was just one thing after the other, salary increases in my port job, which I had back then. During COVID, when I got laid off, immediately, I was 6 weeks at home and I did exactly what first I read in the book. And then afterwards, obviously what Bob had taught me. Within 6 weeks, I had another job. I manifested cash, the health of my daughter. So this is a very key situation for me. She was born really early with 5 months and 3 weeks. The doctor thought she would not be able to make it. She would probably be handicapped, right? They couldn't tell me how. We had a lot of complications, ended up with a feeding tube, but I said, no, I know exactly how this works. And I'm creating my future, and I am not going to be a special needs mom. So I worked with her on her mindset. I worked obviously on myself, on my mindset. And fast forward 4 years, we got the feeding tube out, and she's 5 now, and she goes to a normal school, is very smart, is a happy girl like any other girl too. And the doctors just say, it's a miracle. How did you do this, right? So we really started in 2016, and then one thing after the other, it was like a domino effect until I decided this information that I have is so powerful that I really need to share this with other women.
Now, a lot of people might not be familiar with the concept of manifesting. And, some people go, oh, that's woo. Tell us, what is manifesting exactly?
Manifesting is basically using the universal laws of nature to attract into your life what you really want to have. Now, a lot of us think that life is just happening to them, and then they complain all the time about their circumstances. I'm just not lucky enough. I will never be rich. I was born poor. I can never make my way out of it. And those are negative thoughts. So now we know that our thoughts are energy. And a lot of us have probably heard that you can photograph your aura. And your aura is basically nothing else but the energy that you have. And you can measure your thought energy. So when you think about this, you are always thinking about something. Even so, when you're sleeping, you're thinking something. It's your dreams, for example. So you're always sending out some sort of energy, and you can never really turn it off. You're always thinking something. So if you are not thinking something positive, you are thinking something negative. And that energy that you're sending out is, let's say, think of it like a radio, right? If you want to hear country music, then you just turn on the channel that plays country music. If you want to hear something else, then you just click a different pop music. For example, you click the pop channel. And in the same way, it works with our thoughts. So if you're sending out a negative signal, this is what you're getting back. Because, like I said, universal laws of nature, what you're sending out is the law of vibration. There's a certain vibration, a certain frequency that you're sending out. And the same frequency, the same vibration is what you're getting back. So now think about this for a second. If you are not aware of your thoughts that you're thinking, you really think that life is happening to you. But once you raise your awareness and you're like, oh, wait a second, I'm not feeling good. I'm feeling really negative and down right now. So the signal that I'm sending out must be something really bad and negative. And then all of a sudden you start attracting all those negative things. And it starts with when you get up in the morning and you hit your foot on your bed. And it's just a domino effect, right? So one thing after the other happens. But when you start your day and you are feeling well and you're grateful for this new day, for this new opportunity, then another domino effect, everything comes together and you're just having a great day. Does it sound familiar to you?
Yeah, definitely. No, I'm curious, because sometimes, bad days just happen. I confess I've had bad days. I'm sure other people that are listening have had bad days. How do you navigate those bad days in order to manifest good things?
Mm-hmm. So when you have bad thoughts, then just acknowledge them. If you are resisting, if you're saying, I do not want to have those bad feelings right now, so resistance actually does block you from receiving. So I always suggest when you're feeling bad, acknowledge it and say, okay, I am feeling bad. It is because of, and then you have to really dig deep. Why is it that you're feeling bad? Maybe you had an argument with your sister or whatever it is. And then you say, okay, I had this argument. I'm feeling bad right now, but tomorrow it's a different day and I will be feeling good again. And once you start welcoming that bad emotion, then this bad emotion can just flow through your body and can get released. It's like, imagine you have two hands, right? So when one hand pushes, the other one pushes back. So there's resistance. But when this hand goes away and says, okay, I'm not pushing, I just allow it to be, then there's no resistance and it can just flow. And it's the same way with those negative thoughts. So don't resist it. Say, okay, this is how I feel right now. What is really happening deep inside of me until you get to the source. And then you will see how that negative feeling can be released.
Love it. So let's talk about profits, right? Our audience, they want to increase profits. And let's talk about mindset and increasing profits and what we can do in order to increase profits.
Of course. So our mindset, we have two parts, right? We have our conscious mind and then we have our subconscious mind. And all of our results are based on our subconscious mind. our subconscious mind controls 95% of our results, and our conscious mind only 5%. So now this is pretty tricky if you think about, right? When you consciously want to be successful, but the conscious part only controls 5%. So you can say, I want to make 6 figures this year. And consciously, this is the idea that you have, that you hold. But if you cannot train your mind to really believe that idea on a deep subconscious level, then you won't hit those 6 figures. And it has to do a lot with the beliefs that we got told in our childhood. And we all know it. Our parents, I mean, most of us, at least mine, they were also like that. You have to work really, really hard to make good money, to have to get an awesome degree to be able to make good money. Or money doesn't grow on trees. This is, for example, this is a classic, right? We all have heard those things. So our parents always tried to give us the best education that they were able, or that they thought would it be. What they did not know is that they actually programmed us. They programmed our beliefs. They programmed us in our subconscious mind. And now those beliefs are stuck. And when you're old, when you're an adult, you have to deal with those beliefs. So now I always thought I had to work really, really hard to make good money. I studied pharmacy. I have a pharmacy degree. I'm not using it because I don't like it. But I got told you need a degree to make good money. I make actually more money now than what I was making back then when I was working in pharmacy. And those are just beliefs that you think, okay, I have to do more. I have to work more. I have to implement more strategies in my business. I have to add this strategy to my business. And this is what happened to me whenever I started. Then I thought by doing more, I will achieve more. So I worked really long hours. I bought one strategy after the other, applied one strategy after the other, even so I didn't like it. But you know, when they tell you this is the millionaire strategy, this is what you need in your business. So you believe it, you buy it, and it didn't work. The results just didn't show. And I'm like, wait a second, what am I really doing here? If it's not working, it's not the strategy. There's something wrong with me. So I had to look really deep inside. What was the belief that I was holding? What was really holding me back from attracting the clients that I needed, from making the money that I wanted? And it was that belief that I had to work more hours to really make more money, because this is what I got taught. And then I'm like, no, that's not true. I don't have to work more hours. I can actually work less and attract better clients. So once I managed to train my mind to believe that I can work less and attract more clients, attract the right clients that are able to pay my program and not chasing them anymore, this is when my results really changed. And this is something that we need to learn. And this is what I teach my clients, because you really need a mentor. You need someone that has done it. And I was really lucky that I got to train with Bob. And he was the same. He was working in a fire station when someone taught him how to really get out of his current situation. And I want to add something here, Susanne. When you are in a situation right now that seems really, I cannot get out of it. How can I go from like $5,000 to $25,000 a month? Your current situation has absolutely nothing to do with your potential, what you can achieve. Your current situation is a reflection of your past thoughts, of your past beliefs. So now when you are able to flip those beliefs around and create new beliefs that you are worthy to have that success, that you can attract clients, that you can make the money that you want, that you have the confidence that you can help them, this is when your life will change. And this is also the point when you can hop in the driver's seat and take responsibility for your life. And you're not sitting in the passenger seat saying, oh my gosh, life is happening to me. I am not lucky. Why is it me? Why always I get like the bad luck?
I love it. Definitely a really wise advice. So if somebody wants to turn around, right, their current situation because it's the results of the past, right, the past thinking, what needs to happen to turn that around? What are some action steps that our audience can take today to start to flip that, to get more to the other side, where their financial goals are?
Yeah, you can definitely change that. And affirmations is something that works wonders. So in the mornings, right when you wake up, and in the evenings, right when you go to sleep, those are actually the moments that you can tap into your higher self, into your unlimited potential. It is the moment when you wake up and you're not completely awake just yet. You're still a little bit sleepy. And in the evenings, it's the moment when you're about to fall asleep, but you're not completely aware still. Yeah. So those moments is when you have to start imagining, visualize how you want your life to be. And that feeling that you have. So for example, at night when you fall asleep, when you run a movie in your head about how you want your life to be, those are your last thoughts that you consciously have in your head. But those are also the thoughts that your subconscious mind will take over while you're sleeping. So the beauty is that while you're sleeping, your subconscious mind actually does the work for you. Now, in the mornings, when you wake up, do the same. Imagine how you want your life to be, and then wake up and start with your affirmations. And then tell yourself, I am successful. I am a 6-figure earner. I am confident. I am enthusiastic, things like that. And the more you repeat those things, the more you start believing it. And I know that in the beginning, it sounds really silly when you do that. You're like, yeah, I'm not really sure if this is, what am I doing here? I'm wasting my time. But I promise you, when you keep doing those 30 days, do it only 30 days, and you will really see a shift in your life. Because whatever you're telling yourself, this is what your experience is going to be. And whenever you're telling yourself every single day, several times, I am worthy of those 6 figures. I am worthy of helping those clients. I am worthy of making this amount of money, because the more amount of money that I make, the more clients I can help. And then you really see your life shifting, your life believing. And it helps for money, as it helps for your health, as it helps for your living situation, whatever you need. The strategy is always the same. You just need to understand how your mind works and then just apply it. And also, what I want to add to this, once you did your affirmations, sit down and write out some gratitude statements. Because the more grateful that you are for the things that you already have, the more you are attracting things that you can be grateful for. So, for example, I am so happy and grateful that I have a roof over my head, that I have this beautiful house, and I am grateful for the better house that's to come. So you also can be grateful for something that you want to have in the future, because it will speed up the attraction process. When you are grateful for something that is in your future life, then you are operating from a state of knowing, not from a state of hoping for it anymore. And the tricky part is that you really need to believe it, because you can say those words all day long. I am grateful for my house. I'm grateful for my house. And then when you meet your friend, you're like, man, I'm still living in this little house, and I hate it. And I wish I would finally have my big house. Do you see? There's an underlying limiting belief. So when you do things like that, you are holding yourself back.
No, I'm curious.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this was really great. I'm curious. You did a big switch. You were in pharmaceuticals, and now you're teaching success and mindset for entrepreneurs. I'm curious, you got to the underlying belief of you have to work hard in order to make money.
Yeah.
And that was the beginning of the switch. That also meant letting go of something, right? You were obviously, worked very hard to be a pharmacist. That's not an easy degree by any means, right? How did you go through that process of letting go in order to reinvent to become something else? That takes a very special mindset to do that.
I think I am not a very, how can you say, a typical, what you typically would do, right? So I studied pharmacy because back then my parents thought it would be a great career to have. I did not know what I wanted to do. So I just started studying. And I realized within the first 2 months that I didn't like it. It was boring. I wasn't interested and I didn't want to finish. But my parents made me really finish my studies. And I worked several years in a pharmacy, but I was so miserable. I was unhappy. I didn't like it. I was specialized in, it's called gas chromatography and high performance liquid chromatography. So it's big machines. And then you sit there all day long. You have nobody to talk to, analyzing all sorts of things. And then it was just not me. And I was sitting in Germany. Like I said, I never wanted to stay there. And at some point, I just got so frustrated that I booked a flight to Mexico and I left. And this is when I dropped everything. And somebody in Mexico offered me a job because I speak 3 languages. I grew up with Spanish and German. So they offered me a job over there. And they said, I give you 2 weeks. If you really want to do it, go back to Germany, close everything down, come back to Mexico. And I did it. And this for me was really the cut. And I said, I don't know what I want to do, but what I know, what I don't want is pharmacy. So I started in Mexico and I was bouncing around different countries. I tried out different jobs. I worked as a realtor for several years. I was in Mexico and Spain and traveled around all South America, the Caribbean, and also Europe, obviously, right? And at some point, I landed after years at the mindset coaching. And I'm like, yeah, this is exactly what I believe. I always knew that there's something more to life, that there's things that you cannot see, that you cannot explain with your human eyes, right? And once I really understood how the mind works and I believed it, then this is what I wanted to do. Because let me give you an example. A lot of people have trouble to believe in something that they don't see, right? So now when you take a pen, you let it drop, what happens? It falls down, right? When somebody jumps off a skyscraper, where does this person go? Always down, right? The law of gravity, another universal law. So everybody knows that law exists. It's here, but we don't see it. This is nothing that you can touch with your hands. You can grab it, but everybody knows it's here. Same thing with electricity. Nobody knows how it actually works, but everybody knows it exists. It is here. When I want to have lighted at night, I just switch the thing on, and that is it. And the same way it works with the universal laws of nature. And when somebody tells me, but I can't see it, how can I believe in it? I said, well, you believe in electricity, right? And gravity exists, right? And then they say, yeah. And I said, well, here's it. The same thing, the universal laws of nature. There's so many things in the unseen which we cannot see with our human eyes, but it's really laws that exist. And once you understand them, you can use them to your favor. And this is what I teach.
I love it. I think we call it faith, right? Or at least I do, and it's the, you knew you didn't want to do pharmacy anymore and be with those big machines and taking that next step out in faith, and then really holding on to that with your visualization and your mindset techniques. Definitely. Thank you for sharing your journey with us. That was very, very powerful with that. Miriam, I always love to ask our guests is, if you could leave our viewers and our listeners with one piece of advice, what would that advice be?
Yeah, there's actually a great quote that I love. Well, let me see if I can recall it. I'll talk real quick. Everything you want is on the other side of fear. And I want all of our listeners to think about this. Because whenever we want something and we don't have it yet, we have to do things differently. And every single time we have to do something different, it scares us because we're not used to it. But once we push through, on the other side of fear is what you want.
I love it. So guys, push through, push through, push for that fear. Love it. That is amazing advice. Now, Miriam, how do our guests get in contact with you to learn more, to really develop that mindset to attract what they want?
Mm-hmm. So they can either go to my website. It's yourmagneticmindset.com. They can also find me on LinkedIn under Miriam Villegas. They can find me on Facebook. They can find me on Instagram. I'm sure you're going to drop all the links in the text, which is connected to the podcast, right? And they can also use my blueprint, my manifestation blueprint for success, which I leave for them so they can really start manifesting that success for them.
That'll be great. And what I'll do is I'll drop the link for Miriam, all her contact information, as well as her gift that she's going to be giving you guys today. Miriam, thank you so much for joining us, for sharing your wealth of knowledge and experience, and so that we can achieve more profits by controlling our thoughts.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, Susanne, for having me. I enjoyed it a lot to be your guest, so I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.